Hey, this is Sean with another Nerdgasms.net toy review. Today we're going to be talking about another of the kaiju action figures from NECA's Pacific Rim line. For those that don't know, Pacific Rim is a movie that came out in 2013. It's a science fiction kind of monster movie directed and written by Guillermo del Toro. The film is set in the 2020s when Earth is at war with the kaijus, which are colossal monsters which have emerged from an interdimensional portal at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. To combat the monsters, humanity unites to create the Jaegers, giant humanoid mechas, each controlled by at least two pilots, whose minds are joined by a neural bridge. So the wave that we're talking about is the third of the Pacific Rim line from NECA Toys. This line features 4 figures in all, 2 Jaegers and 2 kaiju. The 2 Jaegers are the Russian Jaeger Cherno Alpha, and the other is the Japanese Jaeger Coyote Tango. So earlier we did a review of the other kaiju monster in this line, which was the battle-damaged Knifehead. And on this episode, we're going to be talking about the Trespasser. The Trespasser is the first kaiju to emerge from the breach. It's huge in every way and features incredible detail, an enormous back fin, and over 20 points of articulation, including a hinged jaw and bendable tail. So if you could see that he's a really large figure. So I have him in scale with a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle action figure. So you can kind of see the scale. I believe it's the 7 or 8 inch scale line. As you can see, he's pretty massive. He's really top heavy though, so setting on anything but a flat surface, you're going to have a little bit of difficulty kind of getting him to stand. So if you actually have the Knifehead Series 3 figure and the Trespasser and you see them side by side, you can see they use the same exact buck. They're the same exact figure other than paint app and the head. In the film, Knifehead was definitely my favorite of the two as far as the kaiju, but in the figure, the Trespasser is much cooler. So as you can see, he's got a really good paint job. You can see the brown in his chest and the really cool yellow lines and all over like a dark greenish color body. He also has a really cool giant head fin, and he features 2 sets of eyes, one on each side of the head. As I said, the 2 figures utilize the same buck, which is kind of true to the movie because if you look at the CG animation, Knifehead and Trespasser use the same exact CG body. So when the figure was sculpted directly from the digital files used by ILM, they're going to have, since the digital files were the exact same for the bodies, you're going to have the exact same bodies for the 2 figures. But as I said, the head is the main difference in the paint application. So looking at Trespasser's head, straight on, you can see the 2 sets of eyes. There's 2 on each side of the head. Unlike the Knifehead, he's got the red tongue and the yellowish oranges inside of the mouth. He's got the yellow stripes around the body, but unlike Knifehead, who's like a darker gray color, Trespasser is dark green. They list him at 20 points of articulation, and just like the Knifehead, it's not very good articulation. So the main set of arms, as far as shoulder movement, they can spin 360 degrees, but it can only go outward about 180 degrees, and it doesn't even go all the way into the body, so you can't even do like a grab motion. At the elbow, it moves just a little bit, but not very much, not even enough to flex. And at the wrist just sort of spins. It doesn't have any other movement. The inner arms, at the shoulder, they have a ball socket there too, so you can twist that most of the way around. There's no elbow joint there, so it's a fused elbow. And at the wrist, you can spin it about 360 degrees all the way around. The hips are in a socket, and they spin most of the way around. They would go all the way around, except for the arms get in the way. Being able to move it in or out at the hips, it doesn't have much movement. Very little at all. The knee does have full flexion movement, all the way from 90-degree angle with the leg, all the way straight back. The ankle features a lot of movement. You can move it any which way. Not a ton of movement, but as far as how many degrees, but in the numbers of directions, it can move pretty much any which way, which is really good because, as I said, for Knifehead, he's a really top-heavy figure, so you need to be able to move the legs and adjust the ankles to kind of hold them up, because the tail doesn't move. It's it's bendable a little bit. It doesn't have any sort of joint action to it. Unlike Knife Head, which had very limited motion in the head, Trespasser's head can spin 360 degrees all the way around. And he can even move it side to side a little bit and up and down. And he also has the working jaw action, so you can open and close his mouth for some biting action. The ads for the toy say that you can recreate some of the fight scenes with the kaiju and the Jaegers from the movie. However, I don't know if that's really possible because the figures actually have sort of limited action and limited playability as far as the joint movements go. But sitting on the shelf, he's going to look really awesome because the paint detail is really first rate. You know, with most of the new NECA releases, the figure paint job is just phenomenal. Other than the limited motion of the joints, there's really nothing you can say bad about this figure. He's a really large size, as you can see, with next to another toy, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figure. And for the money, he's definitely worth it because he's really huge, and you could see him in the package. He's just enormous. He is, even though he's got the same size buck as the Knife Head, some reason he does look smaller. I'm guessing because the size of his head is significantly smaller. Makes him look all around smaller. But he is a really fantastic figure, and of that, even though the Knife Head was my favorite of the two in the movie, the Trespasser is definitely my favorite of the two in the figures. This is definitely one to pick up. I'm really glad I picked this one up because he's going to look really cool on the shelf. So thanks again for checking us out, and this is another nerdgasms.net review. And make sure to check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/nerdgasms.net. So that's nerdgasms, DOTNET. Thanks a lot.